Sir, we are live now. I will be starting with the introduction. A very good morning to all of everyone who have joined us today. Are you home, everyone? A warm welcome to the fourth session of AYUR Anatomy, a lecture series for the first year BMS students. The exclusive sessions will be taken up by the eminent speakers of anatomy across the country for a period of 27 days. We started from 23rd June and will be running up to 17th of July. Before starting the session, let me introduce you to Jignasa. Jignasa is a pan-India platform of Ayush fraternity led by the student community of Bharata and was initiated by ABVP in the year 1998. Its motto is Learn Ayush to Practice Ayush. It involves empowering Ayush students from campus to community, bridging the gap between Ayush students and policymakers as well as administrative authorities, connecting every aspect of Ayush including students, academicians, practitioners, scientists, industrialists and hospitals all under one umbrella. Think globally, act locally. In last 2 decades, our efforts were to strengthen the Ayush education system and boost confidence among Ayush students. Jignasa initiated various programs in different parts of the country, from the grassroots to international platforms, through discussions, study circles, seminars, workshops, and conferences. Let me list a few initiatives undertaken by Jignasa, starting with study circles, lecture series on specific topics, free medical camps, social health status survey, hands-on training workshops, conferences to explore and learn unique aspects of Ayurveda, interaction with eminent Vaidyas and academicians, brainstorming sessions with Ayush stalwarts, policymakers, and key stakeholders of Ayush systems, National Arogya Expo and International Conference, national level seminars, medicinal plant visits, pharmaceutical visits, agitations for the demands of Ayush student community, private internship program for interested students to learn with acharyas, interaction with traditional healers and visit to explore regional flora, online mock tests, social awareness campaigns on various issues, campaigns for the promotions of various concepts of ICE system for social welfare, for example, Swarna Bindu Prashana Camp, group Surya Namaskar and yoga competitions, etc. Free healthcare assistance to people through local governing bodies during natural calamities and accidents and many more. In our yesterday's sessions, more than 800 students joined for the live session and asked their queries regarding the subject and examination. And for so far, we have received almost a 3.5K views on our YouTube videos regarding iron anatomy lecture series. We hope to reach as many as students as possible who can take maximum benefit out of this program. Vidyanama Ranasya Rupamadikam Prachanna Guptam Dhanam. We have seen the inability of common students to afford huge amounts on commercial study platforms despite their jignasa, that is their burning desire to learn. Jignasa is here to give a helping hand. Learn anatomy with experts. All we need is your immense interest to learn. Today, Today we have Dr. Mahesh Patel sir, Professor and Head of the Postgraduate Department of Sharira Rachana, Sri Shiva Yogeshwara Rural Ayurvedic Medical College and Hospital in Chal. Sir completed his UG from Sri BMK Ayurveda Mahavidyalaya Belgaum in 2002 and completed his PG at Sri NK Jabashetty Ayurveda College and PG Center Bidar in 2007. Sir is a recognized PG guide and guided over 17 students in the past 10 years. Sir has also, I have his name under 14 publications and has completed one research project. Sir has worked as resource person and chairperson at 5 national and state level seminars, and he has worked as organizing secretary of a national level seminar on Garbha Sharira in 2019. Sir, today it's our great pleasure to have you on our session, and I request you to carry forward on to the session from now. Thank you, sir. Thank you for joining us today, and I will be handing over it to you from now.
Thank you so much, Karthik. So I love to be a part of Jignasa, and the topic given to me today is I need to deal with three important sense organs: the skin, tongue, and nose. As you know, we have got a very limited time. So what I will be focusing is what are the important topics. Am I audible? Okay.
Yes, sir, you are audible. You are audible, sir.
Okay, thank. Okay. So So today the topic we are going to deal are the three important and vital sensory organs. They are skin, tongue, and nose. As you know, the time given to me is very less, so I'll be like moving on very quickly. So first, let us see the introduction part. So as you know, skin is the largest organ of our body. Okay, with the varying thickness from 0.5 mm to 5 mm. Okay, and So as an examiner, as a evaluator, so I'll be focusing on these topics when you present your answers. Okay. So with that view, we have made all these presentations. I hope you will understand, and whatever queries will be there, I will be dealing it at the end of session. Okay. So our skin actually is divided into three layers. Okay. Epidermis, dermis, and subcutaneous tissue. Okay. Subcutaneous tissue is also referred as epidermis here. So as you can see in this picture, the epidermis, dermis, and the subcutaneous tissue all together, and an important and integral part is being displayed on the picture. So as you can see, epidermis, the thinnest layer, followed by the dermis, which has got major components of hair and sebaceous gland along with erector pili, important muscle, so which we will learn as we go ahead. Okay. So skin basically is made up of bulk of cells called as keratinocytes. Okay, so which are found at the epidermis. Yes. So what you are looking into is the epidermis now. So these are the series of layers which you will find on the skin. So as we go at the base, okay, so we have got stratum basale, so where it actually is formed by cuboidal tissue. It is formed by cuboidal tissue. As it is supplied by blood, it is cuboidal in nature. As the proliferation of this cuboidal or stratum germinatum occurs, so gradually the cells are being pushed to the upper layer. So where we will see stratum spinosum. We will see here the stratum spinosum. So followed by stratum granulosum. As you can see, the proliferation of tissues taking place. Along with that, the tissues or the cells here are changing their shape also. Okay, by the time it reaches to granulosum, it has become almost flat. Okay, now this layer is further pushed upwards to form stratum lucidum. And let me remind you, stratum lucidum is only found in thick skin, like palm and sole. Okay, and the layer which we see is stratum corneum all the time. Yes, okay. So the live tissue which are from the basement membrane. So this basement membrane actually is a dermoepidermal junction. So where you will see the capillaries of blood are actually nourishing it. So as they move upward, they tend to lose their mass and they become flat. Okay. So yes, this is about epidermis. So as you can see, basale or germinator followed by spinosum, stratum granulosum, lucidum, and cornea. As what is epidermis? So it is composed by stratified squamous epithelium, so thickness varying from 1 mm to 0.1 mm to 1 mm. So these are the layers which we have already seen. So stratum basale, a single layer of columnar or cuboidal cells. Okay, so they undergo mitosis and they take 2 to 5 days to to send the older cells to the upward next layer. Okay, and one more important thing. So stratum basale has melanocytes here. So it actually melanin secreting the pigmented layer. So this is a pigment. Actually, melanin is a pigmentation which actually colors our skin. So this actually is receiving nutrition. Actually, stratum basale is receiving nutrients from blood vessels which are just beneath it. Okay, so these are actually dermal vessels. So first layer is stratum basale followed by stratum spinosum. Okay, see where you see here like polygonal cells. This is actually pickle cell layer. Okay, these are having multiple sides. Okay, as they appear like spine or projections, so thus they appear. That's why it's called as stratum spinosum. So here actually the active protein synthesis is taking place. Okay, what I mean to tell is a cell growth. So from here you will see the formation of keratinization. So this from this layer onwards the keratinization occurs. Next is stratum granulosum, so which are 2 to 4 layers, okay, thick and contain keratinohyaline in granules. Okay, so finally it keratinization occurs at this layer. Thus, all the cellular fluid and nucleus is lost by this layer. Next is lucidum, which is a transparent layer as I mentioned. Okay, so which is actually found in the soles and feet. and actually this is helping in protecting against UV radiation of the sun. And the last horny layer which we see is a thick layer of dead cells, okay, which have which are devoid of nucleus. Okay, and these are actually soft in its texture, and they keep skin elastic along with the collagen which is found in the dermal layer. Okay, so cells below contain fatty substrata, so keep skin always waterproof and prevent skin cracking and prevent entry of bacteria. Okay, these are the five layers. Okay, now let us see what are the types of cells which we will find in epidermis. So majority of the cells are keratinocytes, okay, followed by melanocytes. As you know, these melanocytes are dendritic cells of the basal layer. Okay. So these are actually helping in the synthesis of melanin, okay, by melanosome. There are specialized cells here called as melanosomes which are going to secrete and form the melanin. And along with that, we have got Langerhans cells also. These are actually immune response. They are doing the immune response. Okay, they are responsible for the immunity of the skin. As you know, plenty of bacteria are there over our skin, so that they won't penetrate, and even if there is a penetration, those will be taken care by Langerhans. So these are responsible for antigen responses. Along with that, we have got Merkel cells. Okay, so these are the specialized tactile sensory nerve ending cells. Okay, so which are responsible for various types of sensation. Okay, so as we experience different types of sensation, so for which Merkel cells are responsible, which are found in the epidermis. Okay, now comes the dermis. So dermis is a true skin actually. It's a true skin. Yes, it is highly elastic, tough, and flexible tissue. As you know, so dermis is responsible for the turgidity of the skin. Okay, so the dermis is actually made up of elastic fibers, and it is bounded by multiple proteins of the skin. Okay, so thus this collagenous dermis is very essential for the healthy skin. So as the age progresses, this mm, collagen or building material is gradually lost. That is why we tend to get wrinkles over the skin. Okay, yes. So this is very important. So the contents of the dermis are collagenous fiber. Okay, so which are providing support for the skin. Then comes the reticular fiber. So these are actually providing a kind of support to it. So they bind the protein together. And elastic fibers, so which are responsible for the skin and its elasticity. Yes. Then comes the cells of dermis. So we have got fibroblasts here, we have got mast cells, we have got macrophages as well as nerve cells. Okay. See, the dermis actually has got fibroblasts. So these fibroblasts are the building units of the dermis. Okay. And along with it, we have got mast cells also. The mast cells are responsible for immune responses as well as allergic responses of the skin. So, as we know, so many times skin tend to produce so many allergic rashes. It is as a result of the response produced by the mast cells. Okay. Then we have got Langerhans cells. Okay, which are the macrophages. These Langerhans cells are once again responsible for the immune responses. Okay. And along with that, we have got nerve cells here. So these nerve cells are actually letting us to experience various types of sensation. Okay, so there are actually two layers of the dermis. So the upper layer is papillary layer and lower layer is reticular layer. Okay, so the upper papillary layer of the dermis actually is composed or made up of loose connective tissue, and it has got protrusion or a kind of elevations called as papilla. Okay, so these actually have the nerve ending, so which actually let us know about the sensations like heat, huh, pain, cold, pressure, and touch. Okay, so we have got specialized Meissner's corpuscles here. Then the next layer is the reticular layer, so which is actually made up of elastic network of collagen fibers. Okay, so which are actually interwoven with elastic fibers so that the skin beneath actually stays turgid. Okay, so these are actually arranged in a kind of like they are arranged in a specialized pattern. Okay, so this reticular actually layer is very significant. Okay, so to understand reticular layer and its supply anatomy, at the end we will once again discuss about all this. Okay, and also we have got in this layer the sweat glands. the sebaceous gland, and a special muscle called as erector pili. Okay, so sebaceous gland, as you know, they are producing sebum, so which actually makes our skin waterproof, and this is a, has a like it also nourishes the hair also. Yes, then we have got sweat gland. So there are two different types of sweat gland we will find: apocrine glands and eccrine glands. So apocrine glands are always associated with the sebaceous and erector compound. Okay, whereas ecrines are found elsewhere. So these mm, apocrine glands are plenty in axilla and around the genitalia, whereas the eccrine producing or sweat glands are found all over your body. Yes. Okay. So these are the things you need to look into in this slide. Okay. So this is actually the dermo-epidermal junction. So where you can see all the layers. So which is not that significant, especially during examination or when you are writing this question or when you are attempting this question. Okay. Usually such questions will be there in the uh, uh, 5 and 10 mark segment. Okay, so that is when you have to just give this schematic diagram where you can show the dermis, epidermis, and the hypodermal layer, which I shown in the beginning. So these are for your understanding. So you don't have to like bother about all this. Okay. So this is subcutaneous layer actually thicker than dermis and more thick in females. Okay, now we will discuss some of the glands which I mentioned: sweat glands, eccrine and apocrine glands. Yes, distributed all around the body except lips, nails, and glands of the penis. Apocrines are located mainly in the axilla, perineum, nipples, and so these are driven by sex hormone. Same diagram actually I was referring you to be familiar with. So this in this you can see the upper layer being the epidermis. So where you have to show a schematic diagram so that you can explain all the features of skin. Yes, you don't have to explain all these things. Okay, so these are the appendages of skin. So just now what comes in like the next important thing is the function served by skin. So first function of the skin is to protect. So it protects the body against bacteria, against UV radiation of sun, and against mechanical injuries, and it actually makes the whole human body waterproof cover. Okay, it gives a waterproof covering to the skin. So just and another important feature when it comes to protection is the wound healing. So whatever wounds are there, so it has a property to heal itself. Okay, so sometimes helps are needed from the outside also for help like healing of the wound, but primary functions are under protection is to protect you against sunlight, bacteria, injuries, and protect you against the next is thermoregulation. Actually, thermoregulation occurs at two stages. So, thermoregulation, say, suppose when you are exposed to a higher temperature, so all of a sudden you start sweating. Okay, actually, there are two things which are happening. So, first of all, the peripheral vasodilation actually helps you to radiate and lose the amount of increased thermal input. Okay, along with that, there will be sweating which cools down the surface of the skin. So you just have to mention. So in your answer book, you just have to mention protection, then thermoregulation, sensory perception. As you know, millions of nerve endings are there, as it is a part of integumentary system, so which actually is giving us so awareness of the surrounding. Okay. Then is the another important function excretion or secretion. So it excretes lactic acid and sodium chloride and urea okay through sweat, and it is also associated with an important function of vitamin D synthesis. Okay. See, actually, the skin has a precursor of vitamin D. Okay, it's called as 7-dehydrocholesterol. So once it comes in contact with sunlight, actually, it is converted into cholecalciferol. Okay, then this cholecalciferol actually passes through liver and kidney to form active vitamin D, which actually helps in the promotion or helps in the absorption of calcium and phosphate. So thus it is very important for the bone health, okay, and overall health of the human being. So just because of skin, as it is an absorptive layer, okay, which absorbs sunlight and converts it into cholecalciferol, converting it into vitamin D. So vitamin D3 very precise, and thus there will be promotion of absorption of calcium, and this concludes the the explanation of skin. Okay, skin, a protective layer which actually acts as a sheath of the acts as a protective layer for the entire body. So made up. Okay, I'm just summarizing now. So made up of dermis, epidermis. Okay, so these are the two things which you have to highlight. Hypodermis actually is not actually a part of thing, but you have to explain it as a connecting membrane for the dermis. Okay, so this concludes uh, the discussion on the anatomy of the skin. Okay, yes. Now let us go back and start the explanation of tongue. Let's start with tongue. Yeah. So what is tongue? So another important sensory organ as well as motor organ, as you know. So actually our tongue is composed, or it is a highly muscular organ. Okay, so it is highly muscular organ which is located on the floor of mouth. It's located on the floor of mouth. So roughly triangular or inverted V in shape. Okay, yes, and it has an attachment with mandible and hyoid. Our tongue is divided mainly into three parts: an apex, body, and root. Okay, this is an introductory part which you have to learn in. So first, let us discuss the general features of tongue. Okay, so our tongue, as I mentioned, has two surfaces: a superior surface and an inferior surface. And this superior surface is further divided into an anterior two-third part called as oral part, and posterior one-third part which is called as pharyngeal part. Okay, is it clear to you? Yes, our tongue has got two surfaces, a superior and inferior surface. Right now, we are discussing the superior surface, which is also called as dorsum of tongue. Okay, which is divided into two parts. Okay, by means of a specialized structure. Okay, specialized limitation called as sulcus terminalis. Actually, sulcus terminalis is an inverted V-shaped uh, structure which is dividing the tongue into an anterior part, which is anterior two-third oral part, and posterior one-third part is called as pharyngeal part. And the last part which you see is the base, okay, or root of the tongue, okay, which is on the floor of mouth. So yes, as you can see in this picture, V-shaped sulcus which is dividing tongue into an anterior and posterior part. So the apex of sulcus terminalis is marked by a pit called as foramen cecum. Yes. This foramen cecum has an embryological significance, okay, which is not that important right now. Yes. This is how the superior surface will look like. Okay, so this is oral part, which is comprising of a median furrow. As you can see in this picture, this median furrow actually divides the tongue into right and left half. Okay, this surface, superior surface, is rough due to the presence of papillae. Okay, and as this part actually is having the lateral edges, so which are in contact with teeth all the time. Okay, the superior surface is continued here. So the pharyngeal part or the posterior part. So whatever lies behind sulcus terminalis, okay, is called as pharyngeal part, which shows no papillae, and it is nodular because of the lymphatic nodules which are called as lingual tonsils. Okay, and it is contributing to the anterior wall of the oropharynx. Yes, in this picture it is quite visible. You can see the parts here. Now we will discuss to what the base of tongue is or attached. The base of the tongue is far back and it is at the base. Okay, so it contributes, or what you see is the anterior wall of pharynx here. So movements can affect the diameter of the pharynx. Okay, and when you push it forward, therefore, thus the pharynx opens. So when you pull it backward there, you will be constructing the pharynx. Okay, and you have no papillae here. Yes. Then comes the inner surface. Okay, in the beginning itself, I had mentioned that the base of the tongue is attached to the mandible and hyoid. Mandible above and hyoid below. Okay, now is the inferior surface, which is it's not like the superior surface. Okay, superior surface was granular and irregular, isn't it? But whereas the inferior surface is smooth. Okay, in the midline you will see a mucosal fold, which is called as frenulum. It's called as frenulum lingua. Frenulum lingua actually which is connecting the tongue to the floor of the mouth. And just lateral to the frenulum, we have got elevations of deep lingual veins. Okay. And lateral to them, on the lateral most part, we have got mucosal folds called as plica fimbriata. So in this picture, you can see, yes, what you can see is the frenulum. Lateral to them are the elevated part, lingual veins. Lateral most are the plica fimbriata, mucosal fold. Yes. Now we'll discuss the papillae of the dorsum. Yes, as I mentioned, our tongue is granular, so has got multiple elevations. Okay, which are called as papillae, and this like on this surface we have got three different types of papillae here. Yes, circumvallate, filiform, and fungiform papillae. So the circumvallate papillae are found along the sulcus terminalis, which are 12 to 16 in number, whereas filiform papillae are found over the surface, whereas fungiform are found at the tip and the margins. You can see the elevated papillae here. Okay, vallate papillae being the largest, so they are blunt and cylindrical. They vary in number. So in front of the sulcus terminalis, they are present. They are actually cylindrical. Okay, as you can see the vallate papillae. Cylindrical, these are the elevated part. Then comes filiform. So these are thin, long papillae having pointed ends. Okay, these are V-shaped cones. Only papillae having no taste buds. Okay, so they are numerous. These are mechanical and not involved in gustation, actually, to be very precise. Okay, yes, they are present pre-sulcal area of the tongue. Okay, in this picture, this is quite visible. Fungiform papillae. Okay, fungiform papillae are slightly like mushroom shaped. They are like popped part. Okay, and they are having multiple taste buds on their surface. They are present at the apex of the tongue as well as on the margins and larger than filiform papillae. These are the fungiform papillae. And these are foliate papillae. Actually, these are found at the lateral margins and they are vertical folds actually. They are present at the terminal surface and margin. Okay, they actually limit, okay, or they are the limitations of the margin and sulcus terminal. This picture you can see present on the lateral margin. Now, this is an additional point you need to know. So you don't have to mention in your booklet. So you just like in your answers, you just have to mention about papers. You don't have to explain the entire okay so explanation. Now comes to the construction of the tongue. So as we know, the tongue is a muscular organ which is made up of extrinsic muscles as well as intrinsic muscles. Okay, so they are okay. The tongue is divided into two halves by a median septum. Okay, I hope you remember. Okay. So, which actually each half of the tongue has got intrinsic as well as extrinsic muscles. Okay, let's discuss the intrinsic muscles. Okay, these muscles are confined to the tongue. Actually, these are constructing the tongue. They originate and insert within the tongue itself, and they have no bony attachment. Okay. Their main function is to produce or give shape to the tongue whenever and however it is specified. Okay, they are as follows. These are the intrinsic muscles. You just have to mention all these muscles: superior longitudinal, inferior longitudinal, vertical, and transverse. Okay, then superior longitudinal muscle lies just beneath the dorsum of the tongue. Okay, it curls up the tip towards upwards and rolls it posteriorly. So this is the function of superior longitudinal. Then comes okay, you can see this is how the superior longitudinal muscle is going to help. Inferior longitudinal muscle, which lies on the side and lateral to the genioglossus muscle. Their action is to curl the tip of tongue inferiorly. Then comes the transverse muscle, lies inferior to the superior longitudinal muscle and run from septum to margin. So it goes from middle part to lateral part. Okay. They narrow the tongue and increase the height of. Then comes the vertical muscles. So these are the vertical muscles which run inferior laterally from dorsum. It actually helps in the flattening of the tongue. Now the extrinsic muscle, so which are actually helping the like they are holding the tongue in its position. These muscles take origin from the parts outside the tongue. Therefore, they are able to move the tongue as well as alter the shape of tongue. So these are four muscles: genioglossus, hyoglossus, styloglossus, and palatoglossus. You have to mention. It's a compulsion for you to explain extrinsic muscles when it comes to exam. So styloglossus and palatoglossus attach the tongue superiorly. Genioglossus and hyoglossus attach the tongue inferiorly. So genioglossus muscle. Okay, you don't have to like bother about origin and insertion, but you should be in a position to mention all the muscles: genioglossus, hyoglossus, styloglossus, and palatoglossus. These are the muscles which are seen here. Okay, so which are the extrinsic muscle of the tongue. Now we'll discuss the most important part, the innervation, so which is very interesting. The all extrinsic and intrinsic muscles are supplied by hypoglossal nerve except palatoglossus muscle. Okay, whereas so palatoglossus muscle, which actually in turn is supplied by vagus nerve. So the now the blood supply, arterial blood supply is by lingual artery. Yes, lingual artery is the major artery which supplies the tongue. Yes, along with it, so it also receives supply from dorsal lingual artery, deep lingual artery, and sublingual. And venous drainage is by dorsal lingual vein and deep lingual vein. Now, the lymphatic drainage around the tongue. So, apical vessels drain into submental nodes. Okay, so yes, the tip of the tongue is drained into submental nodes as well as deep cervical nodes bilaterally, whereas marginal vessels are draining into like the submandibular nodes and deep cervical nodes, whereas basal nodes or basal vessels are draining into deep cervical nodes. So mainly all of them are going to drain into tubulo-digastric nodes. Now innervation, and I'm going to explain it in detail. This is very important. Okay, so it has its own motor supply, general sensory supply, and special sensory supply. So motor supply. So as I mentioned in the previous slide, that palatoglossus muscle is supplied by vagus nerve, whereas rest of the nerves are actually rest of the muscles are supplied by hypoglossus nerve. So now special sensation, sorry, general sensation. So general sensation is done by lingual nerve. Okay, lingual nerve in the anterior two-third of the tongue, whereas glossopharyngeal nerve in the posterior one-third of the tongue, and posterior most part of it is done by vagus, or is innervated by vagus nerve. The special sensation of or perception of taste, okay, is done by mainly a branch of facial nerve, which is called cauda tympani, so which actually produces taste sensation in the anterior two-third. Whereas in the posterior one-third, there are very minimum taste buds, and the taste is responsible here because of glossopharyngeal nerve. Okay, so you can see the schematic representation of all. Now comes the function of tongue. So tongue is associated with vital functions like deglutition, perception of taste, production of speech, okay, and breastfeeding. Feeding in the sense, the first reflex, okay, of the child is to have the sucking reflex. So for which the tongue is very very essential, and it has a self cleansing mechanism. It cleans itself and mastication. So these are some of the vital functions. Okay, some of the applied aspects you should mention like glossitis, yes, and like tongue actually is a clinical mirror to observe various conditions like anemia or jaundice. Okay, yes, then carcinoma of the tongue is also very very common. Okay, so that actually concludes. the second topic. So now let's go back to the third topic. So sorry for being in a hurry. So as the time limitation has been given to me, otherwise we would have like um, spoken them, we would have discussed in detail. Okay. So what nose is? So nose is an important sensory organ. Okay, yes, isn't it? And along with that, it is also associated with the health, like associated with the respiration, isn't it? The nose, human nose, actually consists of an external and internal part. Okay, so external part is referred as external nose, whereas internal part is called as nasal cavity. And this nasal cavity is further, okay, is divided. Okay, the external nose as well as nasal cavity is divided by right and left half by means of a nasal septum. So yes, what you are looking into is the external nose. The external nose has two elliptical openings called as nares, are also referred as nostrils. Okay, nostrils. In this picture, you can see multiple parts: root, bridge, dorsum nasi, nasofacial angle, apex. Okay, so out of this, you are supposed to know root. Yes, root is very important, followed by apex and bridge. Okay, so as you descend down, you can look into the two openings called as nares or nostrils, followed by nasal septum and philtrum at the lower part. Now let's discuss about the external nose. So external nose actually is composed or partly composed by bone and partly by cartilage. Okay, yes, let us see. So the external nose is made up of nasal bone. Primarily, it is formed by nasal bone. Okay, along with it, they are aided. It is aided by frontal process of the maxilla and nasal part of the frontal bone. Okay, and beneath the framework is formed by the hyaline cartilage. So as you can see, nasal bone as well as lateral cartilages followed by lesser and greater alar cartilages and associated minor cartilages are also there, and rest of the part of the nose or external nose is made up of dense connective tissue. Actually, because of this dense connective tissue which is elastic in nature, so the lateral alar part is more flexible. And the nose is composed by following important muscles, as you know: procerus, nasalis, levator labia, superioris equinacea, and depressor septi. These are the four important muscles of the nose. Okay. So the external part of the external nose is supplied by, okay, ophthalmic artery and maxillary artery, branches of ophthalmic and maxillary artery. The skin of the ala under the lower part of septum are supplied by branches from the facial artery. In this picture, you can see all the arteries. Nerve supply. So the infratrochlear and external nasal branches of ophthalmic nerve and infraorbital branch of maxillary nerve are regulating the nerve supply. Now, the most significant and important part is to understand nasal cavity. So in this picture, you can see the sagittal section of the nose. Okay, so it is quite obvious. Okay, you can see here. So your nasal cavity has got like various multiple features here. Yes, isn't it? So the nasal cavity has a floor, roof, lateral wall, medial wall. It is also called as septal. Okay, see here. Once the nose actually like, okay, so the nostrils continue into the nasal cavity. As I told, it is divided into external and internal part. So external part is formed by the nares, which will open into the mucosal part. Okay, so yes, when you go inside the nasal cavity, it is further divided into an upper part, okay, which is olfactory part, okay, which is associated with the process of olfaction. As you know, it is the uh, function of perception of smell, whereas the lower part is associated with the respiration. Okay, now let us discuss the features. Okay, so it has got floor. Yes, the floor is formed by the oral cavity, roof of the oral cavity. Yes, the roof is formed by the base of the skull. Yes, and we have got lateral and medial wall. So we'll discuss one by one. The floor of nasal cavity is formed by the palatine process of the maxilla and horizontal plate of palatine bone, as you can see in this picture. So these two are the bony projections which are going to form the floor for nasal cavity. As you know, nasal cavity bounded anteriorly to nares superiorly to the base of the skull, and posteriorly it is open into the uh, nasopharynx. Now, the roof, it is narrow and it is formed by anteriorly the bridge of nose by the nasal and frontal bone, in the middle by the cribriform plate of the ethmoid located beneath the anterior cranial fossa, okay, and posteriorly by downward sloping of the body of spinal. So you can see all these three. So from anterior to posterior. So this is the roof. And medial wall, very very important. Okay, so it's also called as nasal septum. The medial wall of nasal cavity is called as nasal septum, which is actually dividing the external as well as internal nose or nasal cavity into two parts, the right and left half. Okay, yes, it is dividing it into left and right half. So it is partly formed by bone and partly by cartilage part. Okay, so nasal septum consists of the perpendicular plate of ethmoid superiorly, vomer inferiorly, and septal cartilage anteriorly. So these are the three major components which are going to form the medial wall. So this medial wall is very significant as it is formed by the cartilage. So during injuries, so rather than breaking, the nose bends. Okay, so this is very very essential and important. You need to know. Then this is the nasal septum as you can see in the picture. So multiple contributions to it are given by various skull bone. So okay, so during or when you will be attempting this question in the examination, if this question appears in the examination, so this nasal part or the nasal septum and its cartilaginous part as well as osseous part have to be mentioned separately. Now comes the most significant and interesting part of the nose, which is the lateral wall of the nose. It has got multiple features. The wall has got multiple features. So you will see dramatic elevations, okay, which are seen on the lateral wall. Okay, so these are the shelf-like projections. Okay, so these projections are called as concha. Okay, concave or concha or concave, concha or concave they are called. Superior concha, middle concha, and inferior concha. So in this picture, you can see all the three: superior, middle, and inferior concha, followed by just beneath to them. So every concha, beneath every concha, we have got uh, a part called as meatus. Okay, thus we have got superior, middle, and inferior meatus. A space below each concha is called as meatus. So thus we have got three conchae and three meatus. So the lateral elevations, okay, are called as elevations or projections are called as concha, whereas space beneath them is called as meatus. Actually, this presence of concha and which is lined by mucous membrane is increasing the surface area of the nose, so that when the air is breath breathed, so the air gets cleansed as well as humidified. Okay, this is why we need a larger surface area, isn't it? Larger surface area which is lined by mucous membrane actually is going to serve in so many aspects. Okay, it will increase the temperature, it will humidify the air. Lateral wall of the nose its presentation. So let us discuss these meatae. Thus, inferior meatus. Okay, so these meatae actually are also giving opening to various other structures. As you know, nose actually is surrounded by multiple paranasal sinuses. Okay, so we are supposed to like discuss about paranasal sinuses also. Okay, but as a sensory organ, we are more focusing on the communications rather than discussing all the sinuses right now. Okay, so inferior meatus, middle meatus, superior meatus, and above. So inferior meatus is the lowermost part which lies just beneath the inferior concha, and it gives opening to nasolacrimal duct. Nasolacrimal duct. Okay, so the lacrimal duct actually opens here. Okay, so that is why when we cry, so additional tear actually runs out of the nose. Okay. Then is the middle meatus, which is below the middle concha. So it has opening for maxillary sinus, frontal sinus, and anterior ethmoidal sinus. Okay, so this has got more openings, okay, than any other meatus. Next is superior meatus. so which is actually helping in the draining of posterior ethmoidal sinus. In the picture, you can this is quite obvious. And the most important one is the superior ethmoidal recess, which is found above the superior concha. Okay, superior ethmoidal recess actually, which is helping in draining of sphenoidal sinus. These are the multiple openings as I mentioned. So the blood supply to the nasal cavity is from the branches of maxillary artery and external carotid artery. Most important branches, sphenopalatine artery. Okay, yes, the sphenopalatine artery actually is anastomosing with the other branch like arteries like superior labral branch of facial artery, and it supplies to the region of vestibule. Okay, and the submucosally positioned venous plexus is drained as draining the nasal cavity with accompanying arteries in this picture. So now comes the nerve supply of the nasal cavity. So olfactory nerves from olfactory mucous membrane ascend through the cribriform plate of the ethmoid bone. Okay, yes, olfactory nerves are opening into the ethmoid bone, and thus we are able to perceive the perception of smell. Okay, so we have got specialized bipolar neurons here, so which will take or which will convert these mechanical signals into electrical impulses so that we can have the sensation of.
Guys, we have lost connection with Zer. We will be getting back online very soon. Just stay tuned.
Hello.
So again, welcome to everyone. Sir has joined us back. So start posting your questions, and sir will continue with the session.
I'm extremely sorry. There is something wrong from my end. I was supposed to end, but okay. So yes.
It's okay,
So
sir.
how
It's
can I?
completely okay. So, sir, shall I start reading out the questions, sir?
Yeah, please do. Please do.
Sir, the first question is, what about the clinical and applied aspects of these sense organs, sir?
Actually, we have to mention actually the applied anatomy. So yes, there are plenty of applied anatomy are there. So first we actually discussed about skin. So you can write plenty about skin. Like you can write about so many skin issues are there. Okay, there are some allergic reactions which you can mention. Like so, what do you call? So you can mention about conditions like psoriasis, uh, eczema, so inflammatory conditions and skin cancer. So plenty of applied expert can all can be mentioned under applied anatomy. So in the second part, I think I had explained the applied aspects of tongue like glossitis, carcinoma. So I think we had mentioned those. Next.
Sir, the next question is, the nasolacrimal duct empties into which part of nasal cavity?
Actually, it actually opens into the inferior meatus. It opens into inferior meatus.
Sir, the next question is, the constrictor muscles of pharynx receive which motor supply?
Actually, constrictors of the pharynx receiving the motor supply from glossopharyngeal nerve.
Sir, there's no further questions. We'll wait for another 2 or 3 minutes and we will
Not an issue.
let them put their questions in the chat box, sir. Is it okay with you, sir?
I have no issues up to 10 o'clock.
Okay, sir.
So actually, I need more time to speak about all these things, but this is very like a short time. So within like an hour, we cannot like discuss all the three important.
Yes, yes, sir. Yes, sir. We completely understand, sir. Sir, the next question is there separate blueprint from RGHS or they follow NCSM pattern only in terms of marks?
Actually, I don't know about other universities, but RGHS definitely has a blueprint. So which is almost similar to the NCSM pattern. So there could be slight deviation of say 5 to 10%. That's it.
Sir, the next question is which is important of genioglossus muscle?
Actually, it's not like that. All the muscles here are important. All the extrinsic muscles are important. Not only genioglossus, even the other three extrinsic muscles are also important.
Sir, there's another question. Um, what are the probable questions from these topics?
See. This actually the sensory organs, all the five organs are important. Okay, so there could be questions like explain the tongue, or so first question could be like explain tongue. Yes, yes. Along with that, the question may be like into two segments. Explain the part of tongue and explain its sensory and motor nerve supply. So there could be a question like this. There could be a question like explain skin and its applied anatomy. So explain the layers of skin along with its applied, and the questions may pop up like this. Okay, and according to me, the out of these five sensory organs, what I believe is if I was the like examiner, I'll be giving more emphasis to eye, followed by ear, then tongue, then nose, and then skin. So this could be the like pattern. So you will get definitely LAQs from this segment, long answer questions from these topics. So like this, see, basic questions will always be there. Yes.
So Sangamesh is asking, will RGHS provide anatomy model for sensor?
I am not the person to answer all these things, but I think RGHS should give a model paper of all subjects, not only anatomy, for all subjects, because as we are facing it for the first time, so what could be the like pattern and all. But there is a pattern that there could be like first there will be MCQs followed by SAQ and LAQ. There is a pattern, but they should give, according to me, they should give. And all colleges have got teachers, good teachers. Definitely, they help their students with a model paper when they will be writing. Almost of the colleges have already completed their preparatory exams also. By this time, students could be familiar with the model paper. But RGHS, for RGHS, it's not a mandatory. Okay. In one paper of Rachana Sharif,
The
ratio
next
of
question
mark.
is Rachana Sharira, ratio of marks distribution in Ayurvedic and modern part respectively, sir.
Actually, you have like if at the end of your syllabus copy, you have the mark distribution according to the theme. Okay, they have made a theme, and according to that, the marks have been distributed. So if you could go through that information which is given by the syllabus copy, will be more than helpful to you. If you didn't understand, Mr. Shivraj, so you can speak to your teacher, or else you can speak to me also. No issues. So, what are the changes in mark allotment for the different chapters in previous meeting? Actually, see here. So these things have been already conveyed to your teachers. What is it? Saban. So the information has been given to all the teachers. Okay, RGHS actually has conducted a meeting for all the Sharir Rachana teachers, wherein the university representatives have given all the explanations and mark distribution in paper one and paper two according to the themes, and also they have given what is the percent of variation from the NCSM blueprint. Okay, that is available with your teacher, and your teachers will definitely let you know. And if you don't understand, if you didn't get any information, you can always approach me, not an issue. I'll help in this regard, no problem. Birappa, how to get RJHS University blueprint? So you can speak to your teacher. So all the teachers have been provided with RJHS University blueprint already. Last week they had conducted a meeting, so wherein they have given all. Okay, this is an interesting question. In last few days, how will you revise and then see? Uh, Writing is always a best option. So for all these days, you have read a lot. So actually, once you start writing it, okay, say like few sentences about every structure which you have read, which you have prepared. So definitely will add on to your logical thinking, and you will be able to present it much better. Say about presentation, usually the significant points will be observed by the evaluator. So he will be looking for the specific points. Say if anatomy of tongue is asked, you should be very specific to the question asked first of all. So you are supposed to write what the question is asked rather than writing whatever you know. What you are supposed to do is when you are presenting your answer, say for 5 marks or 10 marks, what you should do is you should stick to the question asked. Okay, I'll give an example. If the question is explain the blood supply of stomach, are you getting? If the question is explain the blood supply of stomach, you should only stick to your question asked. Okay, such questions will be there for 5 months. Okay, so you are supposed to write what are the arteries which are supplying and what are the veins which are draining. Okay, I have seen so many students write the parts of stomach, huh? And they give that diagrammatic representation of a stomach and everything. So what I believe is you are not supposed to. You are not supposed to. Okay, stick on to the, and as I mentioned, for the preparation of exam, as I mentioned, so make short notes and keep writing them frequently. It will give you a good writing practice as well as your logical thinking will increase. And writing always, as you know, gives you a better idea rather than uh, reading for hours and hours and hours.
Thank you so much, sir. Actually, this writing part is really a great way to practice during the exam. Even have tried this, and it has really helped me personally. Uh, so really, thanks for this beautiful suggestion, sir. I think that's everything from our question and answer session, sir. Uh, I would like to thank you from everyone at Jignasa, sir, from my whole team uh, for agreeing on such a short notice. On a single call, you agreed to join us today, sir, and contribute for the studies of the students in their preparation. So really, thank you for that, sir. And I thank my team who is working tirelessly behind this event. They're working day and night to create posters, to get details from the teachers, to reschedule the sessions if anyone is absent, and from sharing to planning everything. My team is doing a lot of work tirelessly. So I would like to thank them also. And on behalf of everyone at Jignasa, I would like to thank you very much, sir. This session was a great. It was really great, and the way you cleared everyone's doubts and questions, it was really humble, sir. So thank you very much from our side, sir.
Uh, it's my pleasure to work with you people. So you are doing like a great deal of job because NCSM has like introduced so many things at once. So sometimes, so some students who are introverts or sometimes who cannot approach their teacher directly will definitely gain benefit from series of lectures. And from my side, I'm like, okay, I'm extremely sorry. There were some hiccups in between. So as the topic was very vast, I couldn't like cover all the things I think, but okay, to some extent I have managed to clarify the doubts, and I must congratulate all the team of Jignasa. So I'm looking forward to associate with you frequently so that I can help you in whatever sense possible. So I'll always be open uh, for you guys to help. Okay, so thank you so much,
Sure.
and thank you all the organizers and the team, technical team, and the people who are working behind the team. So from my side personally, as well as from my institute, I wholeheartedly thank you so much for providing me an opportunity to speak to the student fraternity. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. It was really generous of you to say about us, recognize the work we are doing. Um, we are looking forward to meet you one day, sir. To invite
Definitely. Thank you.
to visit us on one day, to invite to our conferences. We are looking
Definitely.
forward to meet you and collaborate and work with you, sir.
The pleasure is mine. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for joining the session. We'll meet in the evening today at 6 p.m. For session on digestive system by Dr. Geeta ma'am. Thank you, guys. Thank you for joining. For any doubts, you can message us on Instagram at Jignasa Karnataka or Jignasa Ayush. or text to us on the community group. We will resolve your queries as soon as possible. Thank you.